Okay, today I wanted to talk about masculine and feminine energy and what that means spiritually and what that means like culturally as like a Westerner. Because I feel like there's a lot of discourse, especially in the spiritual community in, Western society, where it's like the masculine is supposed to look this way and the feminine is supposed to look a certain way. And I want to make that distinction, or I want to emphasize the differences between gender roles and divine energetic polarities. Because, and maybe I'm guilty of this, but like the divine masculine, while yes, you could have a person who embodies it more, it's not a specific person. Neither is the divine feminine. You could say you're divinely feminine. You can describe yourself as a divine feminine, but like that is just a label. You're just giving yourself another gender role. Divine masculine and divine feminine is energy polarities that exist within oneself. And so something that's been on my mind or in my awareness lately is like kind of the, I guess, Eastern interpretation of masculine and feminine, where it's like yin and yang, where it's like masculine represents structure and feminine represents like chaos or the unknown, where like one is conscious, one is subconscious. They're just energy polarities. It's not literal gender roles that's supposed to look any particular way. Now there is you know, I guess I'll call it healthy heterosexuality, where it's like, in Western society, in a capitalist society, we look for men to provide, protect, and provide, where women, are to receive or whatever. But again, these are just gender role ideals. They're not, I would not label that as masculine and feminine because, or I would not label that divine masculine, divine feminine, because then we can get into this loop of like, why doesn't my relationship look this specific way? Now, if that specific way is something that, you are working towards, then that is fine. That's your prerogative. That's your life. Like, that's what you want your life to look like. But to, I don't know, co-opt the terms divine masculine, divine feminine, I just think it's regressive to what those terms could actually mean for oneself, because everybody before their own gender is a human. We are always whole and complete as an individual first, right? Before we enter a relationship, before we commit to, you know, a couple, to a relationship, we have to be whole individuals. And so part of that journey, at least for me, and I would hope for you, is knowing your own masculinity and your own femininity before whatever gender you perceive yourself as. Because I feel like when we neglect one, like if I were to neglect my own divine masculine energy, it would cause an imbalance in myself. And that could lead to my own toxic femininity, my own toxic masculinity. It could lead to a sense of needing to prove myself regarding what gender I am, or proving some kind of identity that I hold. Like, when we're not real with ourselves about the energy polarities that exist within us, we are reacting to lack. We are reacting to a sense of lack. And that reaction, again, leads to imbalance. It leads to more lack. Like, if I were to only identify as divine feminine, I would constantly be looking outside of myself for the divine masculine. When really, the divine masculine always exists within me, and the divine feminine, because I am a divine person. I'm a divine being in my entirety. And so I don't know. I think I've made my point here where, like, divine masculine, divine feminine are energy polarities. They're not necessarily gender roles or gender role ideals. I guess another thing to touch on is, like, relationship dynamics are whatever you make of them, whatever you want them to be. Whether it looks like gender role ideals to, generally in society, or it could be something different, because not everybody is heteronormative. Not everybody is in a heterosexual relationship, and we do live in a society where circumstances don't necessarily support the gender role ideals due to, like, economic situations, political situations, whatever, cultural situations. And sometimes, relationships, like, they'll take on different forms as it progresses. And so just because it doesn't always look like the ideal does not mean that it is necessarily an unaligned relationship. It's just taking a different form. But again, that is up to you as the person who is in a relationship. It's not up to societal expectations. It's not up to anybody else outside of you. So yeah, I think that's my point. Divine masculine, divine feminine are not gender roles. They're energy polarities that exist within an individual. And relationship dynamics are whatever you make of them. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening.